Hi, Blue Shirt Buddha and our Wags. Please give me a sound check. This is Steve at Little Treasury Jewelers live. And let's hear if I'm coming through to you as I hope with my setup. So give me a little feedback if you will. Hi, Blue Shirt Buddha and our Wags. Please give me a sound check. This is Steve at Little Treasury Jewelers live. Coming through to you as I hope setup. Hi, Robert V. Thomas Burnett. Welcome. Okay, let's get going here. Today's a little bit of a mixed bag. I want to cover a few things and hopefully spur a little discussion of some topics that are on my mind, might be on yours as well. Hi, Robert V. Thomas Burnett. And okay, and I see Craig, the master, has arrived, and that's good too. And thank you for the feedback. So I wanted to revisit just briefly the Couture Grand Seiko Four Seasons announcement. So it looks like I might have created a little bit of confusion by publishing some mixed up style numbers and with the wrong picture. So I just want everybody to take a look at this and make sure it registers properly. So from left to right, we have winter SBGA 415. Next to that, SBGA 413, spring. SBGH 271 with a green dial, summer. And autumn, SBGH 273 with the blue dial. And reminding everybody that the SBGA spring drives are titanium, and the SBGH high beats are going to be in stainless steel. The spring drives to come in September, and the high beats expected in October. So I've already taken a couple of orders on these. I think they're going to be pretty interesting. And if you're interested, obviously give me a buzz. Again, we're not quite sure on how many we're going to be getting, and there might be a little traffic jam, at least in the early months. I'm anticipating that. So beautiful pieces. I want to get a couple myself, if possible, per the wife. And so that's I just want to touch base on that issue and make sure that everything's copacetic. And I see Paul Goldstein has joined us, Mac Morgan, hello, Thomas Burnett, you're here, and sound all the way to England, sounding good, so that's great. And getting a little delayed sound in the background. I have to turn some sound off on my iPad that's monitoring this. And I need to get that under control. So I'm going to give you a little break time and go ahead and get that set. So I'll show you a little watch while I'm dealing with that. Okay, there we go. Sound should be killed, and that should be better. Okay, so SBGH 271 looks great to Thomas, Thomas Burnett, and hi, Tom Austin. So a couple new names to me anyway, and I'll come back on, and here we are. Okay. So, well, I'm still getting this noise thing, so excuse me for a minute. There we go. Okay, so other things we covered at Couture Time are Longines, which I hadn't visited in Basel, came out with a full ceramic watch, which is quite nice, and so we've ordered these, and I will put a picture up, and let's see. There we go. So the first time they've had a full ceramic watch. I don't have the price on that yet. I've just debriefed Ethan and Linda this morning, and don't have all the readout that we're ultimately going to get, but I thought this was noteworthy and something that you folks would be interested in at least seeing. So, Carlos, hi, welcome. And just wanted to note that. And further, going back over to this piece, we had a productive meeting with Ball Watch. Most of you probably don't know this, but for many years we were one of the leading ball watch dealers in the country. And then for a period of time, the last few years, there have been some issues on distribution and marketing approaches that caused us to drop back. However, for many years we sold a lot of ball watches. It's really where we started with the watch industry and being a watch dealer. And so we had a productive meeting with the Swiss representatives of Ball, and we'll be bringing the line back in the store gradually. And we hope that that will be a productive relationship going forward. They've been doing some pre-order marketing, and that was a part of the issue that was concerning everyone. It bypassed the retailers, but now it looks like we'll be back involved, and that we can take the orders that are advertised through their email and other means, as well as what we'll have in the store. So we're excited to have the brand back. I'm showing a piece here. This is one of the newer models, the Engineer Hydrocarbon Aero GMT 2, and it is a bit of a beast. And I'm getting a warning from Craig that I'm not focusing, and I guess he even tried to call me on the phone. I'll fix it, Craig, don't worry. So anyhow, this is one of their pieces. It is 43.5, 44 millimeters. It is quite thick. It's about 14 millimeters and has excellent lume, as do all Ball watches. And as you can see here, and on the dial are their tritium powered microgas capsules, and I believe also behind the bezel markers. So something to look at. Okay. Let me get myself focused before Craig gives me another call. So here we go. I'm not sure why that's not liking it much better. That should be a little better. I think part of it I'm leaning forward to deal with this. So let's see. So we have Carlos here, and okay, someone likes that cool Coke bezel on the ball, and Yeah. Okay. So someone says Mark Goldberg has one ball, uh, one ball watch. I trust. So thank you, Blue Shirt Buddha. So forging ahead here, I'd like to talk a little bit about uh, Father's Day and watch getting, giving, asking, and I'm wondering what your all experiences have been on Father's Day. Do you get a watch? Do you ask for a watch? We see some activity in terms of the watches, but largely we do have self-purchasers. Um, so if anyone out there has a want, why don't you post it up there and we can talk about it. We've also talked, or someone's asked about our experience with people getting their first watch and what those experiences are like, first fine watch, and who buys it and how it goes. And indeed, that's an interesting process when people come in and they might have had a Citizen Eco Drive or some kind of more basic watch, and they're ready to make the jump. And it's always exciting for us to help people and advise them with that process. Occasionally, something like this happens. A wife comes in and she says, "My husband was here a year ago, and you gave him some information on blah blah blah, something ball watch, Longines, something like that. And he's talked about it ever since, and he's driving me nuts, and I'm going to get him the watch. It's a surprise for his birthday or some other occasion." And so off she goes with the watch. And of course he comes in to get it sized, and all smiles and pretty happy. So occasionally it's that kind of a thing, a surprise. Another kind of occasion is the mother-in-law watch, and we're seeing more and more of this where upon engagement and for the wedding, the mother-in-law is purchasing a watch for the groom, and often it's a pretty nice piece. It might be a Nomos, might be a Bremont, something along those lines. So that's sort of what goes on. Another aspect of this is that after the first watch, the person may then decide to become somewhat of a collector, and then they're in, might be, oh, well, I have a three-hand watch, and now I need a moon phase, or now I need a GMT, and it's sort of this dabbling and try, almost like a stamp collection, trying to round out different kinds of pieces. And this is sort of a first year phase. So I went, and then usually it calms down and people are more into sort of the Craig phase of what's the practical wear, and maybe I have too many pieces I don't need. So I got a couple questions coming up here. I have from Tom Austin: why are ceramic case watches generally so large, like the IWC Top Gun or Omega Seamaster Professional date? I imagine, just from a structural standpoint, that they need that kind of dimensioning to make it structurally sound. They definitely do have a certain thickness of the material for almost all the brands I've seen, and I think that you would, if you had something very thin and fine in that sense, I think it would be quite brittle and very subject to fracturing on shock. There might be other opinions on that. So Mac Morgan comments, first watch back in the 50s from my father was a Timex. Wearing one today, as I'm not afraid of scratching it up a bit, looks a bit LO. Not sure what that means, but yeah, okay, it's great. You're still wearing that heritage watch from the family. Um, okay, so next comment from Space Time. Steve, that was me who sent you an article on the Geneva seal and the Grand Seiko finishing uh, today. I think that Craig sent it to you. Any comment? Sure. So Space Time is asking, is Grand Seiko at the level of the Geneva seal uh, uh, watch standard, which obviously is from the Canton of Geneva. It's actually a government regulation in order to use the seal on a watch. And certainly it wouldn't qualify in terms of the process, which actually involves a requirement for submitting a plan to the canton, the people responsible in the canton for implementing the seal, and they review it before the watch is actually built. The watch is inspected throughout the assembly process, and that's part of it. Obviously, that's not going to work for Grand Seiko, but the requirement that internal pieces be finished as finely as the visible pieces, the fact that everything needs to be hand finished, all the polishing. I think the Grand Seiko certainly would qualify for that, and that's something I could do a little more research on and dig a bit into the requirements. And it's a great question. I think unless they are assembled in Geneva, that's not going to they're not going to get that seal. But certainly the quality level, I would think, is at that point. So we have a Geneva seal watch here in the store, and I had intended to do something coming down the pike on that and have some discussion. And so with a little more research, a little more preparation, space time, I'm going to roll that out, and we'll have a session on it. So Mac Morgan says, like a Rolex, of which I have 3, and I'm not sure that Rolex has the Geneva seal. So you would want to comment on that. Certainly, they're manufactured in Geneva, but I'm not sure they go through that process. Okay. And then Blue Shirt Buddha retracted a message. Just curious what that might be. So anyhow, nobody much expecting anything on Father's Day, it looks like. So I'm going to help you along. We're planning a little watch sale for Father's Day, and we'll be sending out an email announcement maybe tomorrow. So make sure you're on our email list, and it will be probably apply to well over 100 watches in the store. Don't expect the snowflakes and the beautiful Grand Seikos we're talking about to be on that list, but a lot of other desirable pieces will be, and we'll be having a markdown up to 40% on some pieces. So if you're in the market for something, you should be interested in what that's going to look like. And interesting question. Do I know if the faces of the GS ceramic watches are made of ceramic? I don't think so. I think it's just the cladding, the external cladding and the links. If I find out anything to the contrary, I'll definitely report that back. It's a good question, though, and it's a possibility, but again, I think not. Okay. And, oh, this is interesting. Blue Shirt Buddha. Steve, if you had an opportunity to become a Rolex authorized dealer, if so, would you? And if so, will you? Difficult question. It certainly would changed the complexion of our business from a fairly much of a niche player into a mainstream player. And one perspective is that you travel maybe 50 miles in almost any direction in the U.S. and you will find a Rolex store. And you may have to travel quite a bit further to find another Little Treasury. So we love our uniqueness. It certainly would be tempting. You're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to bring in another couple of $1 million of revenue. But again, it would be a cultural and strategic redirection of our business anyway. So let's see. Oh, so Paul Goldstein says, why bother? You can't get any. That's true. I bet you could become a dealer, and maybe you're not going to have any sport watches, and maybe the people dealing with pre-owns will have more inventory than you. Mac Morgan is asking if I can list my site. I believe on the description of the this show there is a link to https://littletreasury.com, which is our website. So go on over there and take a look. So thank you for your honesty, Steve. Well, I've got to follow my mentor's lead. Craig tells it like it is, and I try to as well. And nothing to hide here. We're just trying to do our thing. So with that, I am going to show you a couple of things. If I can get my camera cranked up. Whoop. Here we go. So just in today, the blue snowflake, and I thought it'd be interesting to profile it next to the original snowflake. So there you are. The blue snowflake is stainless steel, and the titanium original, well, is titanium, so for what it's worth. And the blue snowflake is on a blue croc strap with a deployant clasp, and they are both $5,800. And I think it's an interesting pricing on that, given the titanium difference and the bracelet on the original. And I'd like to hear what you folks think about those. Okay. And we also have another piece that I'm going to show you. I'll send you back over to look at the ball watch while I make an adjustment, and give me a second. Okay, I am ready. So this delightful piece just arrived, and this is the SBGC 230 Grand Seiko in 18 karat gold, and it is on a strap with a gold deployant clasp, and it is quite a heavy piece. It's about 193 grams, and that's pretty much above a Submariner, and very beautiful. And interestingly, and I'm looking for my little light deal, which I've misplaced nicely. Okay, check this loom. So hopefully you could see that. I had to lean over and not see what was going on there. So what do you think of that guy? That, if you want it, will set you back $42,000. But it looks like it. It's really, really great, magnificent piece, and proud to have it here in the store. So, back on the snowflake, the blue snowflake, Tom Austin says, looks amazing, but the shade of blue is possibly too cute looking. And Thomas Burnett says he gets what you're saying, Tom. So, maybe. And then Thomas says, wowzers, and I guess that is for our SBGC 230, which is pretty nice. Any takers? Okay. So if you have any questions on that, just give me a hoot, if you will. So a couple of other things going on. I asked for some feedback on the Citizen Caliber 0100. That's the 1 second a year watch that Citizen has just put out, and you recommended I get the mother of pearl dial. Unfortunately, mother of pearl dial just isn't to be in the U.S., just not coming, so I went ahead and ordered the black dial on steel, not the gold one. So anyone interested in having the most accurate watch in the world, we're going to have it shortly. So, and we can have a little show on Citizen when that comes in, and talk about some of the other interesting things they're doing and have done. Craig, I hope whoever buys that gold stunner actually wears it. Well, it'd be a real shame not to, because it is a stunner. It's honestly just a gorgeous watch, and if you're in our area, it's definitely worth the look and feel. It's monumental, in fact. So, okay, so that's what's going on with the Citizen thing. It should be pretty interesting when that comes in. And another little tidbit, follow on from the Couture Time. I mentioned that Ethan and Linda met with Seiko, the Seiko, non-Grand Seiko group. And when I was in Basel, I had mentioned that there was a bit of confusion about the direction that they're going and what would be available to us. There was a lot of discussion about the spring drive prospects, and would we get it, would we not get it? And it looks like that we will have a powwow with the Seiko folks in New York on June 20th, and it looks like that we will pretty much be able to get anything. Maybe not in quantity, but at least bring them in and replace them as we sell them. And I think it's going to be a pretty good relationship. I think that they've, with the split in 2017 of Grand Seiko from the rest of Seiko, that they've been essentially recalibrating on both sides here in the U.S. And I think that Seiko now has sort of set their direction. I think it looks like a good direction. I think it's going to be a little bit more focused on the Presage and the higher end Prospex pieces, and we expect to participate fully. So if you have questions, things I need to take to New York about what's coming, I'm happy to try to track that down and give you some answers. So that's pretty much what we have going here. So that is pretty much it for me. Okay. I have a question from Tom Austin. Besides the Four Seasons Grand Seikos, are there some other new releases from any brand that you're excited about? Well, I think that with Oris, we've got a number of things coming. They're limited editions. They're sort of environmentally oriented limited editions are really nice, really interesting. There's going to be a boxed set, a very limited edition that's still under embargo that we will be offering in unique, really unique packaging that we saw in Basel, not here yet. And keep your eye open for that. And there's a very special piece that's under double embargo that we're almost told it can't even talk about, that we saw that will be coming out as well, hopefully to be announced sometimes during the summer. And so we're excited about that. Vermont has some pieces that were announced in January in their townhouse meeting that are just starting to come in, and I need to do some, probably do a show on Vermont. Someone had asked a while ago, and it doesn't get the discussion that it deserves, and so I'm going to pull things together and do a strictly Vermont show sometime in the near future when time allows to pull that together. So also I'm very open to suggestions, other themed shows that we can do for you besides that. So aside from that, things coming down the pike that I'm excited about. Alexander Sharikoff, our German very niche brand, is coming out with some really beautiful and unique pieces. I mention him from time to time, not a lot of feedback from you folks, but I do have a number of what I call watch connoisseurs who have picked up on that brand and are eagerly buying pieces. They're very affordable, they're very beautiful, and striking. They're really discussion pieces on the wrist. So I will pull together some images of what's coming with them, and I think it'd be fun to share that. And let's see. So Joey Ben has just joined us. Looks like a new face, at least to me. And with that, I've sort of exhausted my things. Someone can't wait for the Grand Seiko GMT quartz. And space-time, can you talk a little more about the Citizen Caliber 100s you were expecting? Well, there are three pieces in the collection. One is the gold piece. The other is one with a mother of pearl dial. The other is one with a black dial on a bracelet. And just that Citizen has come up with the arguably the most accurate autonomous timepiece, I think is the term, that's not connected in any way to external forces such as the atomic clock or a GMT or signal or whatever. And it's accurate to a second a year. And I don't have a lot of specific information on the technology. That's something I can get into a little down the pike. And it's obviously a challenge to our Grand Seiko high accuracy quartz, which is 5 seconds a year, also autonomous. So not much else I can say about it. Very interesting technology, and we will give you some more report. There's actually very little that's been provided to us by Citizen about this to date. So, okay. Question from Tom Austin. Do I have the ceramic cased Seamaster in stock? Yes, I have probably half a dozen variants in stock, Tom. So if you're interested, give us a call. They're beautiful and being very well received. So we do have those. One other thing I wanted to mention, and now I'm forgetting it. So this is what happens when you get old, guys. And I'm older than Craig. Just slipping my mind. So that's about it. So we have any other questions coming? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up. So I'm going to give you a little shot more of our stunner. There we go. That is one beautiful timepiece. Do I have a blue dial Aquaterra in stock? Is a question. So I'm going to look up my stock while you look at that watch, and I will tell you in a second. Aquaterra, gray dial. I do. I've got the Aquaterra 150 meter coaxial master chronometer, 41 millimeter, with a blue dial and rubber strap. I have it with a light blue dial and a rubber strap. I have it in a gray dial, rubber strap, and rose gold and steel, silver dial with a rubber strap. So we have you covered. And yeah, that's service with a dial. Yep. Yep, we have a lot of Omegas here, so whatever you're interested in, I think we can have you covered. Service with a dial. That's maybe we'll pick up on that little motto. Thank you, Thomas. So we're back in action here, and let's cut it off. If I can figure out how to shut this guy down, and try to be back in a couple of days with a little more material. Just post what you're interested in, and we'll try to catch up with you and take care of it. So that's it from Little Treasury, and let's see if we can get this done.